My sister Lizzie died today. Wow, okay. What a weird thing to say, you know? Because it's true. It's not like we didn't expect it. She's been missing for like months. And even before that, she was always in and out, running away and shit. So Mom and I were always like, Lizzie's gone. Not like we said it to each other on a daily basis, or even said it at all. But it was always just there, hanging in the air. Lizzie's gone, ... Lizzie's younger sister, Hannah, the forgotten mourner. But Hannah has lost more than her sister. She has lost her mother as well. A mother so engrossed in her grief over Lizzie's behavior and ultimate suicide that she has forgotten that Hannah still needs reassurance, that Hannah is loved and wanted. The story isn't Lizzie's story. The story is Hannah's alone. And there are so many things you can't tell just by looking at her. From Girl, by Megan Mostyn Brown. Lizzie's gone, ... Maybe that's what's different. No ellipsis. It's, what do you call it? A declarative sentence, I think. Anyway, it's not the kind of sentence with a period at the end of it. Lizzie's gone, period. It's funny, you know? I didn't cry at all today. And I felt really bad, because, well, you're supposed to cry when people die, but honest to God, all I could think about all day is that if I were going to jump off a bridge, like her, I wouldn't do it in the middle of July. And that's fucked up, right? And to be thinking about that instead of being sad, I would do it in November. Or the beginning of March. On one of those days when you wake up with a chill, because it never really stops drizzling. And the bridge would be just a little bit slippery and the water really cold. And people would have to wonder, did she do it on purpose or was the handrail too slick? My mom hasn't said anything all day. I take that back. She hasn't said anything to me. She said thank you to the police officer that came to our house, and she mumbled Lizzie's name to the receptionist at the morgue. I didn't go in. Anyway, I'm glad I didn't go in, you know, to see the body and stuff, because when people drown, they get all blue and bloated. Not like I've ever seen it, but that's what happens in the movies. I'd like to think of Lizzie like that picture, the one of Ophelia, floating on her back in this pond, and she's wearing a really beautiful dress with this crown full of flowers on her head, and that's how I'd like to think of her. There's going to be a funeral. And who are we going to invite? Because Mom and I don't know who Lizzie's friends are. She stopped telling us stuff like that years ago. Mom pressed her for it, and they would fight. You know, screaming, yelling, breaking things, etc. Pretty soon, she just stopped coming home at all. Now that she's gone for good, it's like we can erase all the bad shit. Wow, it sounds like I'm glad she's dead. I guess it'll just be me and Mom at the funeral. Jesus, maybe her friends, wherever or whomever they are having a funeral for her somewhere else. And one of them's gonna get up and say a few words about her. I'd like to think that's true. I mean, someone somewhere has to have a few words to say about her. I've been thinking, like, a lot. It sucks, because all I can think about is Lizzie. There was this article in the paper today about lost youth, and they mentioned her, saying how sad it was that her life ended so soon, and what a statement it made on the demise of adolescence in our society. Then they gave all these statistics about suicide, and that's it. They didn't even talk to us or list any details of her life. They just mentioned her name, some facts about her death, and then placed her in a section of a pie chart. They left out everything. It's like they felt sorry for her without even knowing what really, I mean, she was a fucking drug addict. I pinched my arm really hard, so I won't. See, because all of this, it's just a lot when you're 15. See, I've started, well, for a while now I've been hurting myself. So last night, the house is like suffocating quiet. So I use a straight razor, and after it's like fireworks, deep breaths, and the good kind of weakness all at once. But until I notice, well, there's no point in being graphic. Suffice to say, there's a lot of blood and it won't stop, no matter how much pressure I put on it. And I start to get worried because I feel sort of faint and I don't know what to make of it. And I don't want to call my mom. So I walk to the emergency room, which is good because they stitch me up. 10 stitches with the kind of thread that will dissolve when the wound is all healed. But since I'm a minor and they know my arm isn't the accident I play it off to be, they call mom and make me sit in this office with a nurse who asked me if I've ever done anything like this before, which is the stupidest question because she can see the marks all over my arm, and I answer yes in this voice that doesn't sound like me at all. And I can't look her in the eye. So I stare at the floor, which has the exact same tiling as the morgue. She asks me how many years this has been going on. I say 2. I lift up the salmon pink hospital gown and Jesus, there's a lot, like words carved, hate, ugly. So I'm like, can I go home now? I'm a good person. I get straight A's. I swear to God. I promise it won't happen again. I just want to go home, like really badly. But I can't leave until my mom gets here. And I think I'm going to throw up or break into a million little pieces. So I stare at my toes because maybe, just maybe, if I make myself small enough, all of this will go away. I get up this morning and mom's not at work. She's at home making plans for the funeral. All the knives were gone and my razor, to shave my legs with, was missing. At dinner this evening, we sat in complete silence. I don't know why we even go through the motions. And she served soup and a salad. Things you don't have to cut. And she acts like I didn't notice her peeking at my arms. I mean, it's not as though she's gonna see anything anyway. I haven't stopped. I can't. It's the only thing in this whole mess that's mine. So I've just moved my activities to a new region. Under here. And the only thing that keeps me sane is this stupid fantasy where I clear everything off the table with one swoop of my arm, like people do in the movies when someone's like royally dicked them over and they want to make a point. Anyway, all the dishes went crashing to the floor, and mom just sits there because she's so in shock that I did this horrible, violent thing. Anyway, I take off all my clothes, strip down to my underwear, so she can see all the marks and scars, and I'll tell her where each one's from. I'd say this one right here. This I did the night you yelled at me when Lizzie broke curfew for like the 87th time. And this one is from when you missed my school play because you were too tired from roaming the city all night looking for her. And this I did after I cleaned the house, scrubbed the floors, everything, and you didn't even notice because she had stolen the stereo. This one I did after we picked her up from jail. These along my arm in the last 6 months she's been missing, and this one is from when you left me standing in front of the cashier with a conveyor belt full of groceries and a line of angry customers because you thought you saw her in the parking lot. And while all the normal families loaded brown bags into their station wagons to have real family dinners, I was the mother and held your head in my lap while you cried because it wasn't her. This long one that curves through my wrist is because you haven't spoken to me since Monday when she died. I am here. I still exist.